Well, that was an awesome summit. I have just completed interviewing all the people I'm going to interview. I have to get back to the rest of my life. Well, I'm going to interview one more person. Danny Brazel's going to do an interview with me in a week or so when we get this all ready as a sort of open the gates of the summit and say, come on in. So that's kind of an interview, but it's different. This is me interviewing me. So I'm Lynette Louise, the brain broad. Lynette Louise is going to interview the brain broad on the Virtual Leadership Summit, Seeking the Path. And it is the last interview. I've been asking 3 questions of everybody. So I think I should ask the same 3 questions of myself. Question number 1, what's your definition of a leader? And since I am the brain broad, I'm going to answer it from that perspective. A leader is the person who is more comfortable moving forward and seeking answers and inviting people to follow than to follow and try to let somebody else do the answering. And sometimes you're a leader and sometimes you're a follower in different moments in life. So I may not know how to do statistical analysis. And so then I become the follower of my analyst. But really, I'm just going to hire him and tell him to do it because I don't want to learn that. I'm a leader because I can't help myself, because I have a drive from within that says you see things that others don't. You can either pretend they're not there, or you can spread the word and make sure others see them too. And given that the things I see benefit people and make them healthier, I feel very obligated to lead. So I lead. I think a leader has been a leader most of their life, but I also think you can become a leader by happenstance or circumstance, I suppose is a better word. You can not even know yourself to be a leader, and there's a tragedy, there's an earthquake, and all of a sudden there you are gathering people together because you're the strongest of that group. So 10 people are left and you're the strongest of that group. You've never been the strongest before. All of a sudden you're leading. Now, as soon as someone stronger comes, you'll probably back off. But in the interim, you were a leader. So circumstance can create leaders. And training can create leaders. You can end up in a course that says, no, be spontaneous, here, problem solve on your feet, problem solve on your feet, problem solve on your feet. And after a while, you get so good at problem solving on your feet. Improv is a good example of that, improvisation. And you get so good at that you're in all kinds of circumstances where everyone else is trying to analyze it and figure it out, and you problem solved on your feet. You got it fast. So your training made you a leader. But if you aren't driven, if you don't see something beyond which others see, these will just be momentary things that come and go in your life. So to me, a leader is the person that is actually happier when they lead, because their brain has been set up in such a way that they need constant momentum, much like a leadership ADHD, attention deficit disorder, or leadership attention need. Not so much need from your followers, but attention out into the world to make a difference, to do something, to touch people. For me, that's a leader. And success is being congruent. Success is when everything in your world matches. Now, myself, I'm very flamboyant in one place, very quiet in another. I'm antisocial, then I'm social. I do comedy, I do brain work, So is that congruent? Yes. It never used to be. It used to be a little bit schizophrenic. When you're congruent, no matter what you do, it all comes together with the same message the same intention, the same resonance. And so my message is always, you can be more. And you can be more easily. Just choose it. So I'm congruent. That's my message if I write a book. That's my message when I write a poem. That's my message when I speak. So there may be a lot of other words. There may be, stories and actions, but my message is always, you can be more. And you can do it easily. And then I put my money where my mouth is and I run around fixing situations like, brain disorders and ensure that they can be more and do it easily. All right, so what is the path? What is the path given my definition of leadership and my definition of success? What is the path to get to a place of successful leadership? I've certainly not followed it often. I've certainly been circuitous in my approach. But I believe the path is strictly one foot in front of another in search of congruence. Congruence to me is a very important word, as you may have noticed, because whenever you feel like you have different parts of you pulling, it's like in the old TV show, you have the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other, and they have so many people selling beliefs in good and evil. And I would say, no, there's dissonance where your different sides are all arguing with each other, your different thoughts, your different beliefs, your different intentions, your pocketbook and your wants and your all of that. When they're arguing, you're dissonant. But when everything comes in line, then you're congruent. So if you want the path to success, you make sure that your beliefs, your thoughts, your emotions, your intentions, your reason for being, all those things, they match. And then guess what happens? You have so much energy. The greatest killer of energy is resistance. It even makes sense, if you understand what the word resistance means, if you're looking at any equation, you could talk about resistance as in the resistance that the water has against the tube in the hose. And resistance is what's pushing against you. When you resist learning, when you resist success, when you resist anything, you're exhausted. It's exhausting. You end up depressed, you get sick, you get immune system problems, all kinds of things, heart problems, whatever. But when you jump, when you leap, when you fly, and you do that with congruence, you land okay. You have lots of energy, and you just keep going. So those are my definitions, and I know they work because I raised 8 kids mostly by myself. And I always had lots of energy, and most of them were challenged. I adopted 6 and they were multiply handicapped. And everybody would say to me, where do you get your energy? How do you keep going? How do you keep solving all these problems? How do you keep doing it? So even before I started working with people all over the world, before I started speaking, before I started writing books, I was already figuring out that whenever I resisted anything, I would be exhausted. So I would walk. Go for a walk, and I would say, don't resist, choose. Don't resist, choose. Don't resist, choose. And that's what I would like to give you at the end of this summit. I would like to give you a mantra for when you're stuck. Don't resist, choose. Blessings, and I hope we helped. I'm Lynette Louise, the Brain Broad. Oh, and I have a book, The 7 Senses of Leadership. I have other books too, so while you're on Amazon.com, have a look at all the other stuff. All right. I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned. Stop broadcast.